Well, hi, and welcome back. Today, obviously, we're going to take a look at lead generation and how your business actually gets business. All right. So, bringing in new clients, bringing in new members for one-to-one coaching or our education programs, whatever it is, there's methodologies that we have to do that. So, let's break it down as to what we're going to look at in our marketing. First, we'll break it down into what are the three divisions. So the global, the regional, and your local marketing. Okay, and we're going to break it into the three different styles of marketing, the three different time frames of the marketing. So obviously, in your business originally, for the first 90 days, you'll do different marketing you'll be doing at year 2 and 3. So we'll get into that. The 28 different strategies that you will learn with us that we have documented, systematized for you to go and run in your business, how you'll invest in lead generation, how you'll invest in hiring the right person to run your lead generation, okay, or the right people, because there's three different styles of people, and then ultimately from your success system to how do we boost it or to give your marketing an extra boost by using outside agencies. And we have several of those approved agencies around the world to help you with your marketing and getting results for it. So each different level, who does what? Well, at the global level, it's really about again, if you break it down to like an 80-20 rule, okay? So if we say 80% of what global does is branding and strategy and content, creation of that, and about 20% is lead generation. And then at a regional level, again, branding and content are a big part of it, with public relations added in and strategy sort of removed out of it at that level. And then lead generation about 20%. And then at your localized level, you flip that over, where about 80% of the strategies you will use will be lead generation strategies, and only about 20% of it will be branding based strategies. So that's sort of the way we break down the marketing plans. And of course, as part of your training, you'll build your marketing plan and you'll go through and look at your different area and which of the strategies suit you best. So we have three different types of marketing. Okay, so we have a digital marketing realm, everything from website and social media and that style of digital approach, Facebook and Facebook advertising and creating all of that. Then we have content is a big part of that as well. Then we have community-based advertising, whether it's strategic partnerships, whether it's referrals, networking, those sorts of things. And finally, we have the direct style marketing, whether that's emails direct, whether it's direct mail, whether it's telemarketing, but it's going direct to the potential customer when you know their database or they're a member of a chamber or something of that nature. What are the methodologies that are best to go direct? And so the reason I break this into three is because the three different marketing training programs that we have, your lead gen specialists, we can put them through digital training, we can put them through relationship training or community training, and we can put them through direct training. So they can go to either one of those three or all of them if you so choose. What we generally find is that most partners or most firm owners come to us having one of these as more their strength. So like you might have a strength in the community-based, out networking and doing all that sort of stuff. So you want to hire someone to do maybe the direct or hire someone to do the digital. Now, you don't have to do that straight away. We suggest hiring a lead generation specialist straight away and getting them trained to go and build the business with you so that you can get on to doing the other aspects of it. But again, all three of those in the 28 different strategies broken down takes you through that. Now, of course, that then leads to the diagnostic, which again is another whole segment here. We're going to talk about onboarding of customers in just a little while. But take those 28 strategies and then we redefine them. And again, I'm not going to go through them all in detail here and show you the actual marketing pieces. You'll get to do part of that when you go through the marketing toolbox tour. But in essence, our intellectual property around this is very strong, and it's something that once you join us, you'll get to be taken through all of that sort of stuff. So when we do your initial plan, obviously we're doing a vast majority of short-term marketing strategies in your first 90 to 180 days. That's what we're focusing in on. So out of the 28 strategies, we break it into the ones that are the fastest lead generators for you. And not just fast at generating leads, but fast at generating leads of people who are ready to buy now. There's a percentage of people when they contact you through your marketing where, yes, you can get a higher volume of connection and a higher volume of people reaching out or raising their hand to ask questions or, be inquiring about coaching. But if they're not ready to buy right now, in the early days, we don't really need that. We want people who are ready to buy now, raising their hand in those first days. And that's part of the planning process with you in working through your marketing plan. Medium to, somewhere around 180 days into this, we're going to start moving you to some medium-term strategies, okay? Some people do move into the medium term within 90 days. But again, it's all about budget at that point. It's about how much do you want to allocate to growing the business. And if you want to hire multiple lead generation specialists, you can move into the medium-term stuff faster than if you want to go the other way around and say, okay, let's just focus on the immediates, and then we'll gradually move to that longer term. Finally, the longer term strategies, where it's, a lot of the relationship ones are built around longer term. Several of the relationship ones are built around very short term. But most of them are built around more longer term strategies of building those relationships that then feed back customer base to you through strategic partners, host beneficiaries, etc. But again, if you take all 28 of the strategies, and we will show them all to you in your training, or in your pre-training actually, and break them down into not only the type of strategy, but then the time frame of strategy, it's basically a 9-square matrix. It allows you to build a marketing plan that suits your desire for speed of growth and your desire for speed of cash flow. Obviously, the more you focus on those immediate strategies, and again, even within that, some of those immediate strategies are more time-oriented, meaning you're going to have to put in more time to make those strategies yield results, and some of them are more cash-driven, where it's just a straight spend the money and get the result type thing. But and again, within that, break it down one step further, you'll see some strategies that are high volume lead generators and some that are low volume, but some of the low volume ones are higher conversion ones, and so it's different strategies for each one. And as you go through planning in your pre-training and in your training, as you go through planning your marketing plan, you'll start to see how that all falls into place and how you build. And again, each of these has the scripts, the documents, the systems, the marketing pieces. They're all there, and you'll get to see a little bit of that, I think, on your next video with one of the team. So the lead generation system, how does it work, and what do we do with this? Well, in essence, we get the prospect to raise their hand. We use different offers, okay? So if you think about the different offers that we make, our goal is to get them to raise their hand indicative to what it is. So maybe if you're wanting to run a sales training, you'll run a free webinar on sales type thing, or have an ebook on sales that they'll raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in growing my sales, or I'm interested in improving the results of my sales team. Or maybe it's an ebook or a webinar on leadership. Maybe it's a generic grow your business webinar or seminar, and that will lead them into the coaching, or lead them to a path where you can decide what it is, whether they move towards that. Or maybe it's, there's many different ways we get people to raise their hand, and a lot of those strategies are education based, meaning we give away a format of education, being an ebook or a webinar or a seminar, or we give away some knowledge. It might even be a coaching session that you give away, or a short training program that you give away. And that allows you to get them to say, hey, I'm interested in training, or I'm interested in coaching, or I'm interested in having my management team trained, or something along those lines. So then what happens is, through the systemic approach, we identify those who are ready to buy right now and need conversations right now, versus those who are further down the road and they need more nurturing, more farming to bring them to a point where they're willing to fill in some forms or give us some information to take them to a, yes, I'm ready to buy right now thing. See, when someone fills in that next phase or continues to that next phase, it's because of what they've done, how they've raised their hand, how they've acknowledged that. We then move to the 13-step onboarding. Once we've got them to a one-to-one conversation, it's then about inviting them into the onboarding process, inviting them into that next phase of doing the exploration of their business and the learning from their side of the fence. It's always positioned that way, that we're here to add value, that we're here to help them grow, we're here to help them learn. That way, it's always a coaching relationship that you're developing with these people. It's not a sales relationship, it's a coaching relationship that we do. Even your salespeople will operate with a coaching relationship or coaching mindset. So, our goal in building your marketing, our goal is to build it to a 10 by 10, meaning 10 methodologies of 10% of your customers. Okay, so we're not trying to do one strategy that brings you 100% of your customer base. We're building one at a time, and through that, we actually then get them to doing it. As I mentioned earlier, play to your strengths. If your strength is digital, great, let's use a lot more digital to begin with in particular. We'll add the others later on, but in the beginning, we want to start with where your strength is. Usually, we'll then outsource or employ the other two strategies, okay? So whether it's using an agency or an employee, we'll go through that in your pre-training and your planning. And the other partners that you are with can talk to you about that as to whether they use outside agencies or do it in-house and what their thinking is on that. I personally prefer a mix of both. I like some strategies to be run in-house and some strategies to be run by external agencies. So that's where that sits. So let's talk about this whole thing of buying leads. If you invest $1,000 in a Facebook campaign and you get 10 leads from it, well, that each lead costs you $100, if that makes sense. So you put out 1,000, you get 10 leads, each lead costs you $100. So let's just do the math. Imagine 1 in 10 of those leads becomes a customer for you, okay? And you can find out the numbers locally for you, and you can find out the cost of customer acquisition from other partners in your area, what it's costing them to buy a customer right now. But let's imagine you could buy a customer for $2,000, okay? Let's say it's not even $1,000. Let's imagine it costs you double that to buy a customer $2,000. And they came and joined your one-to-one coaching, and so their first check to you was more than $2,000. So hey presto, you've cost $1,000 or $2,000 to buy that customer. They spent $2,000, so you're immediately break even. Every month after that is pure profit on that customer. My whole book, Buying Customers, you can read that. It goes through that one in a whole lot of detail. But essentially, your growth goals determine your need for how many leads you want, how many conversion rates, all of those things. You will decide that for your business. I can't decide that for you. Of course, I would love to see you in high growth mode for 2 to 3 years and then head into profit mode after that, where you're in growth mode where you're reinvesting. But that's as your partner, I want to see that. But it's really, this is a partnership, so it's your needs, wants, and desires are the highest priority in your territory because you're the majority partner in your territory, sort of thing. Hiring a lead gen specialist. Let's talk about this. This is not a marketing manager. This is not someone whose job is to sit there and strategize and plan and come up with fancy things. No, this is someone who is an implementer. They're a doer, okay? They do the job, they do the strategy, they implement the strategy, they monitor the strategy, they work the strategy. So I want to be clear on that. They are a lead generation specialist. You've got to hold them accountable. There's no two ways about that. That's any business. If you've got an employee, you've got to hold them accountable to hit their numbers, and you've got to employ the right person. Again, you'll go through the training of what to look for, who to look for, all those sorts of things. Again, with the 3 different types, we will put them through the training with other marketing specialists from around the world running the training. Okay, they are the lead gen specialists that train your lead gen specialists are people that work in other firms around the world. It's not a corporate officer. It's someone from they're on the cutting edge. They're doing this every day. They'll share their details, what they do, how they do it. All of that is part of the training of your people so that it's real life, real results. Okay. Yeah, just to mention that training is virtual. It'll be run globally so that they can come on board. And yes, some of them, time zone wise, it is a challenge, but ultimately getting their training done over a 3-day period, over a 2-day period is very important for each of them. Now, someone can attend all 6 days and do all 3 different lead generation specialist training, but I really wouldn't suggest it because each area has about 7 or 8 strategies. Some of them have got a few more, but each area has 7 or 8 strategies. And out of those 7 or 8, you would imagine that they will learn, grow, and master in 1 or 2 of those strategies in the beginning, and then add the other strategies as they get more and more systematized, more and more confident, and get more and more results for that. Buying you leads at the right price so that your conversion rate means you're making a profit on that customer on day 1 of the whole process. Let me just cover off what makes someone succeed in the beginning. We find that the fastest acquisition of clients often comes down to networking and alliances, people who you already have some form of know, like, and trust factor with. If you have an accountant that will refer you to do a lunch and learn with people, and we'll show you how to do that, but if you have an accountant that is a friend or a colleague that will put you in front of 5 or 10 business people, that is much faster than going the advertising route type thing. It's much faster than going some of the other routes. If you have a networking, and again, we'll teach you how to network, we'll teach you how to get the results from your networking and do that in the scripting and the things you need to do, or your team member who will do that for you. But ultimately, that's one of the fastest. Our digital raise your hand strategies are obviously very quick as well, especially if you do have a reasonable following on LinkedIn or Facebook, or a connectivity on your Instagram in the area sort of thing. We can build that connectivity, obviously, and there are strategies you'll learn how to do that, or one of your team. Again, your team will learn how to do that. Whether it be spotlight interviews or Facebook advertising, and we do have outside agencies for both of those that can help you with that in the beginning. But just using simple social posts to get people to raise their hand that they're interested in stuff, definitely a good starting point. Telemarketing is almost always a good starting point for us. And some people say, I don't want to do telemarketing. Okay, we didn't say you had to, but someone can do that sort of thing. It's, basically telemarketing is like door knocking. People say no one answers the phone. I tend to disagree because I see our stats. Whilst it does take a bit of work to do it, it does yield great results, and it yields fast results. It means this: you find people who are ready to buy now, not just people who are ready to buy. Yes, through telemarketing, we could do a very farm-based strategy where it's, connect with them and just put them on a database and stuff, but that's not what you're doing in the beginning. In the beginning, you want to get fast results. And these are the methodologies we find get the fastest results. Obviously, your launch of the business, as discussed previously, will be important too. Getting your friends and colleagues, connections, family members, getting all of them into the launch to help you show off what you're doing now will be a big part of that as well. The mistakes we see people make, just throwing money at it. It kills me when I see a new franchise partner just say, yeah, I'm just going to get an agency to do it, and they throw the money at the agency, and that agency hasn't learned us. It hasn't learned our target audience. The reason we have approved agencies is because they've learned with and through us the actual target audiences to go after, the actual +1 or like audiences to use for Facebook advertising, for those sorts of different things. So it's really important. Another killer of early ones is, I'm just going to do everything my way. No, please, don't buy a system from me and then go and not use it. This system works. We know they work. We know these strategies work. The other one is diving into too many long-term strategies at day one. In the beginning, we really need those short-term strategies to get some early wins, early momentum, because that early wins and early momentum propels you forward. That's an important aspect of it. Final one there. Listen, I think you know this. I don't really need to say it, but I'll say it anyway. If someone spends all their time setting up desks and not actually going out there and generating leads, you know that's not going to succeed. You've got to generate leads in the beginning. Any business does. But again, 28 strategies, 3 different types, 3 different time frames within that. We'll take you through the ones that will work best based on your skill set, your desires, your knowledge, your goals. You'll build that plan. We'll either have you do it yourself, or we'll hire a marketing specialist, or if it comes right down to it, we can go to the outside agencies and just have them work with you, the approved agencies, and have them work with you on day one to make sure you're getting leads right in the beginning of your business. If that's a concern for you, be aware of the fact that there are so many strategies and systems to get you getting leads from day one. In fact, before day one, during your pre-training, actually getting you signed on and ready so that the moment you are back from training, you actually have meetings preset is a big part of that pre-training, getting you ready so that when you land after those 10 days, you land to momentum, you land to your launch, you land to your first event, your first seminar, and you land to your first meetings before you even go away to training. So with that, next one, system for getting clients and members, part 2, more on marketing. And once you've gone through that one, I'll be back with taking you through the onboarding, the 13-step onboarding process that we use. Some call it sales. We actually see it more as coaching people into the decision of being coached. But that's what that whole process is about. So jump on the next video. I'll see you on the one after that.